Only you can prevent forest fires. Kyle, do you remember who said that? You do? Good job. DarbyCast, Wildcard Friday. Kyle and I were just talking about the cultural icon, Smokey the Bear. Good guy. Really out of shape, though. And that didn't add up, right? Guy had a belly on him. And I know some people would say, well, anatomically, bears are, they carry a little extra weight. Get ready for hibernation in the winter. But let me challenge you on that, because Smokey the Bear was fully anthropomorphic. What does that mean? He was a person more than he was a bear. He was a mutant chimera, and he should have had a ripped core because he spent time in the woods and teaching kids how to stop forest fires, how to properly put out a campfire. You pour water on it. That's high level, right? But then you use a shovel, you stir the remnants of your campfire, and then you pour water on it again. Now that's not obvious. So that's why we need heroes. Case in point. But you know what Smokey the Bear couldn't anticipate? With all of his wisdom, nobody sees the whole picture, right? We all have blind spots. Smokey the Bear could not anticipate meth heads getting wasted in the woods and either starting fires deliberately or mellowing their buzz out with some heroin or some fentanyl while smoking a cigarette, and then they drop the cigarette. Or they've got a trash can fire and they are engaging in a nonsensical chant around a drum circle / trash can fire. And as fun as that sounds, don't get me wrong, that sounds like in the correct setting makes more than enough sense, right, Kyle? Like, not bad. However, society, right, Kyle? What's another thing that Smokey the Bear could not have anticipated at all? You guessed it, illegal immigration. How many fires have been started by non-citizens? Kyle, do we even have the data on that? Do we even know? Of the 3 million people who have showed up at a party that, boy, were they not invited to, this year alone, a la the southern border, how many of those folks have wrecked stuff? Not just from a haphazard arson standpoint, but maybe they have murdered people. The establishment doesn't want you talking about that. But if we were to revive Smokey the Bear, hijack the cartoon, change his appearance and his name a little bit as not to infringe upon copyright and trademark law, we might be in a pretty positive space, would we not, Kyle? Maybe you name him Brett Whiskers, the no bullshit cat. Oof, boy, have we needed that. And we already have him technically, because as some of you know, many of you actually, I am an author, and Brett Whiskers already exists. He's a jacked cat. He's 6'4", about 230, shredded core, puts Smokey to shame, would beat the shit out of him in a physical altercation. Smokey doesn't deserve that because he was just trying to do his job, but I think we can all agree that Smokey was not as forward-thinking as we needed him to be to anticipate illegal immigrants and meth heads. We need high ethics, cartoon-style characters to instruct the youth on the stuff that matters, disrespecting commies, sometimes physically, slapping them in the face, by utilizing what has yet to be developed, but I threw the idea out a couple episodes ago, the Randy app, R-A-N-D-I. It's where high ethics lesbians slap people on demand. It is the butch lesbian on-demand slapping app. And if you want to know more about it, maybe you go back to the episode Randy Stops the Apocalypse. Really important message. but not enough kids know about that, right? We all remember Smokey. We all remember Captain Planet. And let me tell you something about Captain Planet, because the other day I was curious. And so I went on YouTube and I watched a Captain Planet episode, and boy, was it full of the environmental agenda mixed with some really homoerotic imagery. Captain Planet, the way he dressed and presented himself, strikingly homosexual. Not putting a value judgment on that. I'm just simply stating what is. What does that say about a lot of the people who are involved in the environmental movement? I don't know. You tell me. Scruff McGruff, the crime dog. Pretty good dude, but not even he could have anticipated the level of meth-headery and illegal immigration that's going on right now. In hindsight, don't we wish Scruff McGruff and Smokey the Bear had teamed up because they both had the foresight to understand that their worlds were going to collide in a big way. Forest fires and crime? Son of a bitch, right? That hurts, right, Kyle? Knowing that those two guys could have come together to intercede. Kyle, I can hear your dog, check that, my dog, whining because she knows how important this is. I have a vision for Brett Whiskers, and that is to become a national hero in a lot of public service announcements. He wears aviators. Kyle, you haven't even read my books, have you? I guess we all know what's coming in. Your gifts for your birthday, which is right around the corner, Kyle. I will not be taking any gift suggestions. You will be getting a pair of books. But wouldn't that be great? You're just watching whatever the hell it is you like to watch from time to time, and then bam, out of nowhere, incredibly jacked cat in a tuxedo, not like in a Captain Planet Speedo outside of the tights. Like he's got a shredded core, but this is not meant to be a sexual outfit. It's just a form-fitting tuxedo, sleeveless, so he has more mobility. A lot of the cartoonists back in the 90s were perverts. Moving on. We know what we have to manifest in this world of ours, and that's culture and integrity and the spirit of our Lord and Savior, JC. Brett Whiskers is a Christian, FYI. I know a lot of you had that sense already, but I think it's worth mentioning nonetheless. Let me just tell you a little something about Brett Whiskers. Let's take a formal time out. Brett Whiskers has a time machine, and he stopped 9/11. He didn't stand for Osama bin Laden at all. You stop 9/11, then what happens? The Patriot Act is not authored. Surveillance state does not ramp up in the way that it has. Sure, it would still be there because there's creeps who like to watch you go to the bathroom at all levels of government. Boy, are there creeps aplenty. And they've got scat fetishes, from what I can tell, from our insiders in government. Oh, we've infiltrated many an institution with our good cheer and our love, right, Kyle? The unblockable weapon. That is the strike that has no gambit. Love. How depressed do you think Smokey the Bear is when he sees the way the world's become and there's forest fires popping up everywhere and people are giving these lame excuses and saying, it's global warming. Look at Greta Thunberg. Look at this autistic chick from Scandinavia. Hear her words. It's like, no. We know it's meth heads, illegals, and commies that are going out into the woods, having orgies, and then committing acts of arson. We're not going to blame this on rising emissions. Let me just say this. I'm not pro-pollution. And what do I mean by that? when I say I'm not pro-pollution, let's take into account that the biggest polluters in the world are China, India, and multinational corporations. So I am very much against those entities. And if you want to save the planet, you should probably align yourself and say, China, India, I've had enough. Not that the people are bad, but maybe they are. You ever consider that? Certainly in the corporate world, there is an overrepresentation of bad people. Who Brett Whiskers, let me tell you about Brett Whiskers and what he would do to a corporate fat cat. He'd grab them by the scruff of their shirt, dangle them over the side of a skyscraper, and then put them back on the roof and be like, I'm not going to throw you off. Now take off your shoes. And then they would say, what? And then Brett Whiskers would dangle them over the side of the building again and say, stop polluting the ocean. Sea creatures are something I enjoy. And the exec would say, you're insane. And then Brett Whiskers would take one arm off of this exec's shirt and hang them just by a single arm, by the scruff of his shirt. And he would say, this is my weak arm, Bill. How do you want to play it? And then that corporate exec would say, Brett, please, I can get you a trip to Jeffrey Epstein's island. He is still alive, by the way. And he's still running his business. You know what Brett Whiskers would say? Fuck you, you pervert. And then you'd let him go. And then out of nowhere, some Barry Manilow might start playing. Looks like we made it. Left each other on the way to another love. How good does that sound? A high ethics, anthropomorphic cat enacting environmental justice by offing CEOs who wouldn't fall in line? Brett Whiskers could solve a lot. Do we have any high integrity cartoonists who listen to the DarbyCast? I would imagine we do. Ones who would be willing to make room for a passion project? That is, creating high-impact public service announcements? I would grant you the authority to use Brett Whiskers and his likeness. I own the IP, but I would be willing to lend it to you in order to get the message out there. Illegal immigration's an issue. So are meth heads. So are corporate CEOs. China's not okay, nor is India. Nancy Pelosi is a ghoul. Pretty short PSA. You're just watching YouTube videos, investigating the depraved individual Anthony Fauci, while uttering out loud, this sick fuck knows no bounds. And then there's an ad, and it's a jacked cat wearing aviators and a cut-off sleeve tuxedo. He says, hey kids, Nancy Pelosi's a ghoul. Or, hey adults, Nancy Pelosi's a ghoul. You can do targeted ads and reach a very specific audience, is what I'm saying here. But you feel for Smokey the Bear, do you not? Let's just kind of pivot back into that. You feel for Scruff McGruff. They're alcoholics. At this point, they turn on the news and they're like, fuck, I had so many chances. Do you think they anticipated this in the deep recesses of their mind? But they were inundated with so much commie propaganda that they were like, no, that couldn't happen. There would never be a border crisis where drugs and evildoers flooding across the Rio Grande, right, Kyle? Into this beautiful nation, creating environmental disasters and a lot of crime. Scruff McGruff, he's not doing okay right now. And by extension, the artists who created him, they're all struggling in a pretty big way too. The Captain Planet people, they're on drugs right now, and they're trying to suck off a railroad spike. And nobody has had the courage to tell them that's not how railroad spikes work. Pelosi's in China right now. She went to China And I'm going to tell you, Brett Whiskers would have rocket launched her plane before it hit cruising altitude. He would use an F-15 fighter jet, and his co-pilot would be Christina Aguilera. And she would be singing Genie in a Bottle in Spanish as Brett shot Hellfire missiles at that plane and said, "We're not doing this, Nance." Soy un genio atrapado. That's I'm a genie in a bottle in Spanish. Why do I know this? Because I've listened to the cover. And it's good. I hope you get an opportunity to listen to that today. Aguilera, not bad. Not bad. Good vocals. If you're newer to this show, get the hell out of here if this isn't your speed. Like, stop listening immediately, if not sooner. And go J.O. while watching a Captain Planet rerun, you pervert. We don't want you here. However, if all of this is landing with you in a pretty substantial way, I'm so happy you're here. On the DarbyCast, as I'm sure you've gathered, we are idea people. Myself, Kyle, all the listeners. Something that we pride ourselves upon is atypical solutions to glaring problems. We need kids to be inspired. That's another thing that we care about. Have you seen the downtrodden looks on children's faces where they're just doing Fortnite dances, but they're pissed or melancholy or a combination of both of those emotions? Very inappropriate space for a child. Kids need heroes worth looking up to. Smokey the Bear no longer has that right, nor does Scruff McGruff. It's not that they're bad guys, but they did mess up catastrophically. So it's time for a new group of inspirational anthropomorphic animals that are telling kids the right messages. For example, denounce Nancy Pelosi, insult Fauci to strangers, promote Christina Aguilera's work, even the stuff in Spanish. It's not bad. Institute the death penalty for drug dealers, including those in big pharma. Guillotines are not out of the question. I would love to hear some 14-year-old kid come up to me and be like, guillotines, thoughts? That gets a business handshake out of me and a you're doing great. How much do kids need to hear that? Words of affirmation, you're doing great? That is going to land. And then words of encouragement to follow them up and say, go do a set of push-ups. I believe in you. Where's that been? Right? A guy like Brett Whiskers has the ability to communicate that to adults. He's got messages for the youth. He's got messages for adults. Now that is a cultural icon. Brett Whiskers hates seagulls. How refreshing is that, right? So many pro-seagull people out there. And what does that mean? That's the signpost that's pointing in the direction of a dangerous spirit. Somebody who is not okay with JC, and they're pretty verbal about it. I can't stand that. Nor can you, nor can Brett Whiskers. Some of you right now are asking, does Brett Whiskers have friends? Does he have a supporting cast? Of course he does. Mayor Robert Jenkins, who, fun fact, is a seagull, and he's the only one that's okay. And Brett Whiskers knows it. The rest of them are trash. Other supporting cast members? Milton, the crossing guard, who can't stand human trafficking. What about George Monocle, high integrity reporter? He's there for the facts. He's not there for the hype. He's not going to jerk you around and carry water for the commies in power. Boy, is he not. I wrote these characters into existence a couple years ago. And it's time for them to take center stage. Some of you right now might be thinking, this all sounds amazing, which it does. But you might be thinking, it's too little too late. What if the economy crashes? And to that I say, we go down swinging until such a time where everything spirals out of control and people just start openly murdering one another in the name of canned tuna. How good is canned tuna sometimes, Kyle? Make like a little tuna salad. Do it with some Fritos, maybe chili cheese Fritos if you're feeling adventurous. Kyle, I'm going to take you out for a tuna sandwich today. You've done a reasonably okay job in the past month with work. And it's time for a little bit of a recognition party. Are you comfortable with that, Kyle? If you have the skills of an artist, your brain is most likely on fire right now in a really positive way. And you're probably chomping at the proverbial bit to see these characters and what they look like and see how many public service announcements come to mind upon viewing them. And to that, I say, you can get your hands on this via paperback, hardcover, or ebook, depending on your preference. And if you want to hear the first book narrated in a really hammered sounding British accent that pretty much misses the mark, that is available as well. This is Inspiration 101, Intro to Inspiration. How many amazing things would this do for the country? Suspend what you know about current events. That we've got a corpse at the helm of the ship. That's Biden. That we have ghouls as his lieutenants. That's Nancy Pelosi. That corporate fat cats want your kids dead or in jail. That's all of them. That people who took the experimental medicine known as the might have some kind of odd new variety of AIDS. Put that on the back burner for a second and dream big. Dreamhuge.com. Kyle, do you think that would be available? Dreamhuge.com? GoDaddy. Go look it up. How important does that website sound? The SEO? Unparalleled. People Google that combination of terms all the time. Just dream huge, and then they hit the I'm feeling lucky button. Goes straight to the top result. And that could be us, Kyle. What if you put a pause on all things terrible going on in the world right now and you dreamt humongous and you said to about 7 to 35 strangers, you said, what would it do for you if you knew that there was a jacked anthropomorphic cat that dressed extra classy, wore aviators, had a time machine and a rocket launcher, and he knew how to use all of those things to their maximum potential? What would that feel like for them? Pay it forward is what I'm trying to say. Because right now, I get the impression that many of you are feeling electric. The physical manifestation of hope is surging through you. And don't you deserve to feel that way today? Don't we all deserve to feel that way, Kyle? You've been looking depressed lately. You take a big glass of this and chug it. Take a can of it and shotgun it, Kyle. Turn that frown upside down. No, not like that. That's a smile. Turn the frown upside down. Pay attention, Kyle. Fuck. I am beyond willing to license out intellectual property to the correct-minded people who have the combination of ethics, spirit, and integrity and core strength to do the right thing. Kids need heroes, but so do adults. Cat's out of the fucking bag. What's that cat's name? Brett H. Whiskers. With the tremendous success that this campaign would have we would raise a lot of money, so much so that we would be able to buy the intellectual property rights to none other than Chuck E. Cheese. Have him enter the fray of the culture war. Not just him, but his entire anthropomorphic rat band as well. What would Chuck E. Cheese set his sights upon? Corporate lobbying, the court case Citizens United. You know what his PSAs would sound like? Lobbying is a commie way of describing bribery. And I'm not having it, nor is the rat band. And then they would just start jamming. His second in command hitting the bass guitar. Chucky on vocals, obviously. An undersized but approachable possum on drums. How incredible does this sound? A sturdy and effective team of characters to whom we can all tip our hats. As a DarbyCast doctor, you have license to dream. Dreamhuge.com. And I love that for you. And today I want you to imagine as many anthropomorphic characters as humanly possible taking a stand on the issues. World record holding bench press gorilla Banana Fingers taking control of the United States southern border. Speaking Spanish, saying things like, Oye, criminales, es un felony para usted ser aquí. Hey, criminals, it's a felony for you to be here. And it is. Undocumented, really soft language. The first activity you do, your entry activity, is committing a felony. We don't want you here. And Banana Fingers is here to remind people of that. And you better believe Banana Fingers and Chuck E. Cheese would implement more than a handful of tasteful and artsy collabs where they would flesh out the relationship between corporate lobbying and felonious immigration. Can you imagine a cartoon depiction of Brett H. Whiskers, high-integrity, jacked cat with a rocket launcher on the border, targeting the coyotes specifically, the people who are coordinating a lot of the whodunitry, saying, oops, your whole body's exploded. Take the day off, you stupid son of a bitch. If you want to team up with me and create something worth creating, send an email to Kyle, info@DarbyShireUSA.com. Are you as aligned as I am with the stuff that matters? I think you are. And there's some of you out there, and you know who you are. You might be even more aligned with all things important than I ever could be. And boy, do I admire that. We could give Smokey the Bear a second chance. We could give Scruff McGruff a new lease on life and a Gatling gun to do the right thing, right? And a lot of you are asking, okay, and then what? Running these PSAs on the videos that young gamers watch, kids who are playing Fortnite, get the message out there and say, you want to quit being a total puss and become a really cool cat? This is Brett Whiskers talking, as I'm sure you've gathered. What if you knew how to build a real fort and operate a firearm in a way that was pretty cool? What if you teamed up with high integrity individuals and stood for all the right things? Patriotism, defending the weak against the powerful. And I'm not really in favor of child soldiers. However, if they're coached in the right way, could be kind of cool. In a lot of African countries, those kids aren't getting the right kind of coaching. Their warlords are giving them blow, and that's not it, okay? That's not what a kid needs to feel connected, inspired, nurtured, and like they matter. They need role models, not just cartoon ones either. They need you. What if there was a camp, a summer camp, where kids could go to learn life skills like operating a shotgun and reading the Bible and denouncing the silly antics of commies. Would you send your kid there? I would imagine a lot of you just took out your checkbook and said, where do I send money? We have an opportunity to build something that's nauseatingly special. So dialed in that it just makes you want to Ralph all over your own chest out of respect. Kyle, I need you to go on the website and build an investment portal that will allow donors to begin fundraising for this. We're not going to go through those BS platforms like GoFundMe, where they analyze a cause and they're like, oh, this doesn't go with the commie agenda. We're not for it. Notice how they did that with the Canadian truckers, who were all really good guys. We're going to have to do some crowdsourced fundraising to get the ball rolling. But, Kyle, momentum. Have you heard of it? An avalanche is caused by a single boulder or even a pebble, Kyle. I happen to be that guy at the top of the mountain, rolling stones down and saying, let's see what happens. You know what's at the bottom of this mountain, Kyle? Villages of commies. And it's not about the boulders. It's about the mountain, which provides the energy and the momentum. You simply need to set in motion a series of events that after they pick up enough steam, they're entirely irreversible. What's the mountain? Momentum. What are the stones? Love. Right, Kyle? But that's going to do it for DarbyCast Wildcard Friday. There are so many amazing ideas that we just discussed. You might want to go back and listen to this episode multiple times over. And then you pick your spot and say, that's what I'm going to do. I'm a cartoonist. I'm going to get to work on the PSAs. Or I have the robust skill set of a camp counselor. I want to start laying the groundwork for Camp Dream Huge. That name is non-negotiable. That will be the camp name, but we will have campuses nationwide. And in some cases, they will be international. Listen to some of Aguilera's nonsense today. Take the positives from it, discard all the rest. There's a lot of noise in her music, but there's also a couple truth bombs and inspiration smoothies. Enjoy your day.